CNN's Oren Lieberman entered Gaza with the Israel Defense Forces to see the tunnel shaft near Al-Shifa and what lies beneath. CNN reported from Gaza under IDF escort at all times. As a condition for journalists to join this embed, media outlets had to submit footage filmed in Gaza to the Israeli military for review. CNN retained editorial control over the final report. And here is Oren's report.
We go in under cover of darkness, and as we cross the border fence, it's lights out across the Gaza Strip. Escorted by a tank, we switch into an armored personnel carrier for the final stretch. Even through a night vision screen, you can see the magnitude of the destruction on the streets of Gaza City. We offload at the Al-Shifa hospital, pick our way along Ibn Sina Street, or what's left of it.
Pete, watch your feet, let's go.
We have to keep our lights off most of the time or risk exposing our position. CNN reported from Gaza under Israel Defense Forces escort at all times. As a condition for journalists to join this embed with the IDF, media outlets must submit footage filmed in Gaza to the Israeli military censors for review. Now at the hospital compound, we wait inside a structure to make sure the area is secure before moving the short distance to the exposed tunnel shaft.
And here is the entrance. You can see what looks like a ladder accessing to it. And as I step over here, it's very difficult to see how far down it goes. But it looks like there's almost a central shaft for a staircase, and then the shaft of it disappears then down into the darkness.
We move around the opening for a better look at the shaft itself. What's clear from here is this is meant to go deep underground.
Which direction does the tunnel go?
We assume that the tunnel goes out, and it has another corridor to this way.
Towards the hospital?
Towards the hospital, meaning it connects the hospital to outside, which implies with the way that Hamas is working. Hamas is going out somewhere, shoot at our forces, going back inside to a safe place.
We weren't allowed to enter the shaft, but the Israeli military sent special gear down to see where this leads. Inside, the video shows a spiral staircase, and as the camera orients itself, it moves forward into a tunnel. The tunnel makes a sharp left turn, and at the end of another path with concrete walls and an arched concrete top, a metal door they say they have not yet opened because they fear it's booby-trapped. IDF spokesman Admiral Daniel Hagari says some of the Israeli hostages taken on October 7th were also brought through the hospital. He says the body of Noah Marziano was discovered 50 meters from the compound.
We have evidence that they were holding hostages in Rantisi, but also we have evidence that they were bringing them to Shifa Hospital. We're still looking for the places they might have held them.
This is not proof of a Hamas command center or headquarters underneath the hospital, but Israel continues trying to build its case that Hamas uses the sanctuary of the hospital for cover, which Hamas and hospital officials have denied. The IDF's ability to continue its operation in Gaza and the credibility of Israel are at stake here, as the number killed in the fighting surpasses 12,000, according to the Hamas-run Ministry of Health. The IDF says one of its missions is to destroy Hamas, but with international criticism mounting, Israel has to show the terror organization is using Gaza's civilians and infrastructure as cover to justify an ongoing war. Oren Lieberman, CNN in Gaza.
Oren goes into much more detail about what he saw while in Gaza, and you can read about it in a piece he wrote for CNN.com. Well, CNN's Claire Sebastian is following developments and joins us live from London. Good morning to you, Claire. So what more are you learning about the IDF videos that claim to show a tunnel on the grounds of the Al-Shifa hospital and the CCTV footage that reportedly shows Hamas hostages being brought into the hospital on October 7th?
Yeah, Resmi, they've been putting out sort of pieces of evidence, images, videos since this sort of targeted and precise, as they call it, operation at Al-Shifa began overnight into Wednesday last week. They had shown us on Thursday what they say was an exposed tunnel shaft in the vicinity of Al-Shifa. But we've seen a real expansion of this, of course, in the last 24 hours or so. Also, the videos showing a camera being lowered into that tunnel, allowing international journalists like our own Oren Lieberman in to see the tunnel shaft itself. And now we have this CCTV footage, which the IDF claims shows hostages being brought into Al-Shifa on the very day of that Hamas massacre in southern Israel on October 7th, which would show although we cannot verify the authenticity of this or the identity of those shown, but would show that they have been using this complex since the beginning. This video you're looking at here showing what the IDF says is an injured hostage being brought in, clearly still bleeding. Now, they have said that these hostages are, one is Nepali, one is Thai. Hamas, meanwhile, is questioning, the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza, questioning the authenticity of this and saying that all it really shows is that anyone who needs medical treatment at Al-Shifa was given that medical treatment, although, of course, one of the hostages that we see, the purported hostages in these videos, was not injured. So what you see is this campaign from Israel to really try to prove its claim, as it has been claiming for weeks now, that Hamas is operating a command and control node under the Al-Shifa hospital. If it can conclusively prove that, and we can see that they haven't conclusively proven that yet. They haven't in the case of that tunnel under the hospital. They haven't gone through that blast-proof door. They assume that it leads to the hospital, but they don't know yet. But if they can prove that, then it would show, amid mounting criticism of their operation there, that the hospital is being used for military purposes, and then it loses its protected status under international law. But as I said, pressure is mounting internationally. Meanwhile, we're hearing from the White House that the hostage negotiations are progressing closer, perhaps, than they've ever been. I think those CCTV videos in particular add extra urgency to that. Rosemary?
Yeah, indeed they do. Claire Sebastian joining us live from London. Many thanks.
Let's bring in CNN military analyst, retired Colonel Cedric Leighton. Colonel, it's always good to see you. I want to bring us back to some of that video we showed at the beginning, because at the end of the video, we see a closed metal door. And the IDF says that that door under the hospital has not been opened out of fear of it being booby-trapped. What could be behind the door that we see in the IDF video?
Yeah, good morning, Casey. There could be a lot of things behind that door. One supposition is that it's an armed storage facility by Hamas, that they have a lot of weapons stored behind that door. More likely, though, given the type of door that it is, it's a blast door that's designed to withstand explosions. It's possible that it contains communications gear for Hamas. And if that's the case, that could be in line with the idea that the Israelis have purported that it's a command and control center for Hamas. There are all kinds of other possibilities, but those are the two most likely, and it could be a combination of those two. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking at. Clearly, they wanted to protect this area. Hamas did. It's also possible that there may be other elements there of, actual troops there, actual Hamas fighters there. So that's, that's always a possibility. But of course, the Israelis are worried that this might be a booby-trapped area. So they're trying to figure out how to get in there without destroying themselves or damaging any evidence that might be behind that door.
Right. Okay. So we also showed the CCTV footage that the IDF released of Hamas moving two hostages. One of them is Nepali. The other one is Thai. You see them there going through the hospital. Where might those hostages be now? And what does the fact that they came through the hospital tell you?
Well, it's hard to say where they might be now. The supposition would be that they would be in the tunnels somewhere else, perhaps within Gaza. Of course, one other possibility, is that they could be behind that blast door, which I don't think is likely, but you never know in a case like this. As far as the fact that they came into this hospital, if everything checks out in terms of the accuracy of this video and the Israeli assertion, according to the IDF, that tells you that, clearly Hamas has some kind of activity at the Al-Shifa hospital. Normally, hostage takers will bring their hostages to a place that is safe for them. And it could also be a major node for them, either a headquarters type element or some other installation that they feel that they have control over. And that's why this is particularly noteworthy.
All right, retired Colonel Cedric Leighton, thank you very much for getting us started today. I really appreciate your time today.